I think I'm all done.
Rob paid their tab with a big wad of cash, and then stood and helped her into the pre-owned Martin Margiela jacket that still embarrassed her when she thought about what she'd spent on it.
Thank you, Rob.
My pleasure, Jessica. She could feel the awkward moment coming as they made their way through the empty restaurant, the servers already setting the tables with fresh linens and clean glass and silverware for tomorrow. In 10 seconds, they were going to be standing on the sidewalk, the question of whether the night was over or just beginning, hanging in the air. She wasn't going to sleep with him, she knew that. But maybe a quick nightcap back at his place or hers, no harm there. Rob opened the door, and then they were out on the sidewalk in the cool spring night. Jessica stopped near the street, her hands in her pockets, half looking for a cab, half wondering if she needed to. I'm really glad I took a chance asking if I could sit next to you, Rob said.
Me too,
Jessica said.
It was a really lovely evening. Come on, continue it. I'm sending you the signal. If I'd wanted our time together to be over, I would have already said good.
Any chance I could interest you in a late evening walk? Rob extended his arm, the boldest move he'd made yet, and she melted a little bit.
That sounds very nice.
She took his arm, felt a cord of muscle under his shirt. I was thinking maybe we'd walk toward the river, Rob said. It's so beautiful at night. They headed east on West Fulton, the clouds glowing with the reflection of the city lights. It's funny, Rob said, as they walked under the Kennedy Expressway. Past 3 Mondays I've gone out, just like tonight. You're the first woman who invited me to sit down.
And I'm glad I did,
Jessica said.
I go out a lot, too.
By yourself?
Yeah, it's just, well, so hard to meet people.
To meet the right people?
Exactly.
She laughed.
Everyone's so fake.
It's an epidemic, Rob said. People never say what's really on their mind. It's all a game these days.
I'm right there with you, Rob.
The streets were quiet, the last of the revelers stumbling out of bars in search of their cars or a late-night cab. Straight ahead, the downtown rose into the night like a range of luminescent mountains, and Jessica could smell the river. The breeze had taken on a cold, dank component as it swept toward them across the water. They walked up North Canal, the river flowing like liquid glass. Halfway across the bridge on Kenzie Street, Rob stopped, and they leaned against the railing. Watched the current pass beneath them. Watched the lights of downtown twinkling in the dark. A comfortable moment of silence, she thought, and a good omen, perhaps, that they could share one on a first date. Rob pointed toward the old Kenzie Street Railroad bridge. You ever see it up close? He asked. From the shore, I mean.
I've never walked over to that side of the river.
Well, come on.
Really?
Yeah, let's go. He took her by the hand, his grip firm and dry, and they moved at a brisker pace across the bridge and then south down the riverwalk. His stride was brisk, purposeful, and it challenged Jessica to keep up with him.
Are you sure we're allowed to be here?
Of course. The city is ours. It was 2:15 when they arrived at the base of the old railroad bridge. It soared into the sky, locked open in a raised position at a 45-degree angle over the Chicago River. Sirens wailed somewhere in the distance, but otherwise the city stood as quiet as one might ever hope to hear it. Snowstorm quiet. Not another car nearby except for a white van parked near the path. Rob put his arm around her. She let her head tilt over and rest against his shoulder, wanting to kiss him, thinking if it was going to happen, now was the moment. Standing by the river and feeling like they were the only two people still awake in this gorgeous city. He was staring up at the steel girders of the bridge, and if she could only get him to look down at her, she felt sure it would happen. The perfect culmination to this glorious surprise of an evening.
A penny for your thoughts?
She said. She could feel her heart thumping. Hadn't kissed a man in more than 6 months. Finally, Rob looked down at her. I was thinking, he said, how beautiful you're going to look hanging from the end of that bridge over the water. The wine buzz vanished.